episode of the Success Secret podcast with your host Hussein Talib. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and life. My guest in this episode, his name is Nelson Paredez-Parks. He's a dynamo renowned for his eclectic skill set and embodying multiple roles. As an acknowledged expert in the entertainment industry, Nelson is known for his leadership of the ESI Network, a premier talent management company with over 30 years in the entertainment world. So, Nelson, I'm so grateful that you are with me on this episode of the Success Secret podcast. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate and I really want to just be able to talk to your community and impact and have a little conversation and see kind of what we talk about today about regarding entrepreneurship.
Awesome, awesome to have you. So, first of all, because this is the Success Secret podcast, and you have a long-term career, you have dealt with a lot of people in business and life, of course. So, what do you think or have seen as of now after this experience and what you are doing? What is success is to you, and what do you see others see or have certain misconception about what success is?
To distinguish what success is for me, it's like I want to make sure that there's like a fine balance between like a work life and a personal life balance. And I think as an entrepreneur, I started my business when I was super young. At the age of 17 had a business. At the age of 18, I moved out here to Hollywood to pursue, my dreams in the entertainment industry. I briefly worked as an actor and booked a bunch of jobs, but then decided I wanted to get on the other side of the business. And I worked in casting for a while. And then I taught thousands of young kids and teenagers as an acting coach, and then started managing. And I've been managing now for 30 years. And I've had clients that have been very successful over the years. I've built them from absolutely no credits on their resume to clients that are series regulars. I've taken clients to the Emmys and the Oscars. So it's been a really wonderful journey. I've traveled all over the world with my clients. I've been to India and Africa and Europe and, all over the US. So it's been a really exciting adventure to be able to like manage clients. And I've seen them from, the total beginning of their careers where I'm helping them get their first television credit to like at the top of their success when they're like, walking down red carpets and going to Vanity Fair parties and like, going to the Emmys. And so it's been a fun journey. And so, as a talent manager, I'm here to guide, motivate, wisely set up a structure and plan for an actor's career. And the interesting thing that I've been doing over the last couple of years now because when the pandemic happened, one of the things that happened was the entertainment industry obviously completely shut down, and then we had the actors strike, and that caused more problems. So I started really thinking out of the box, and I started another brand called helpandanswers.com. And so what Help and Answers does is it helps entrepreneurs and businesses scale up their business and really go next level with their brand. So, I've always been in the world of like trying to make an impact, trying to make a difference. And I always have life coaches that coach me, but I also now am a business coach that coaches entrepreneurs and entertainment people how to move their brands and careers to the next level.
Yeah, so you had some kind of a major turn, but I would assume in general, someone when they are becoming an actor, they would like want to pursue this kind of career, right? And you did that for a while, and then you decided to switch to becoming in management or train actors. That what happened. So what was the turning point for you to decide to switch?
Well, honestly, I think, I started my management company at a very young age. I was like 21, 22 when I started doing this. So I worked as a teen actor in Chicago. I trained with Second City Touring Company, as a teen. It was a great experience to be in front of the camera. But honestly, got more satisfaction from impacting and really helping people reach their goals, helping actors live out their dreams. So I just decided that I felt more excited about doing that side of it. And honestly, as an actor, I didn't want to go to my acting classes. I didn't want to do some of the work that it really takes to be an actor. So I kind of had like a real reality check with myself, and I said, I think it's time to maybe do something else. So I made that decision at a young age, but I was always, at the age of 16, 17, I started a lawn mowing business and a snow blowing business. And so I've always been an entrepreneur, thinking out of the box, trying to find ideas or creative ways to make income.
Cool. But that's amazing what you wanted to do with the people around your community and helping other people. But what draws me here, usually people, when they are in the path of like becoming famous or they see this type of career that they will be famous, they usually pursue that. What you mentioned here is right. So you mentioned that you weren't like interested in learning acting as an acting to be like some kind of a professional actor as we see in Hollywood nowadays in these big buster movies, right? So why did you think you had the calling on the other side, not that side?
Well, honestly, I think that I realized the ups and downs of what it takes to be an actor. Like you can have a year where you make a lot of money, and then you can have a year that, you make next to nothing. So, for me also, I also would forget my lines. I mean, I'll tell you a little story. I remember I was working on a film called What's Love Got to Do with It with Angela Bassett, and I remember working on that project for about a week. And every time I got up to say my lines, like I forgot them 3 or 4 times. And honestly, it was so embarrassing to me that I was like, I don't know that acting is really what I want to do. And it was funny. I went to the film and I invited a bunch of my friends, and I was completely cut out of the film. You saw my names in the credits. I was excited about that, but I'm like, wow, the highs and lows of this business, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. And I just thought, you know what? I'm actually really great at business and I'm great at systems and structures. And I'm really good at helping people and building a road plan and game plan for someone's life. So now what I like to do is I like to make sure that we have a wise business plan for your business, but also for your personal life as well. My belief system is that, if corporations all have business plans, so should people. People should have their own business plans so that they have a plan for what they're up to in their life.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you
Yeah.
mentioned the highs and lows. Like I assume in general, like in business, you're in business. There are highs and lows also.
Yep.
So did you have that fear when you moved into business and entrepreneurship? Like did you think that there is competition? Did you think that I won't succeed? Like did these negative thoughts affect you in any way, or did you think that business is different because, for example, I'm not that much interested in acting. I do want to help other people achieve what they want to achieve. I want to see other people succeed.
Well, I've always been of the belief that you want to keep your cup, half full so that you have the ability to expand and grow. So for me, I've just really wanted to make a difference and impact people. And I don't think, I mean, I was probably foolish when I was younger. I just always had the confidence and belief that I can do it. And if I didn't know how to do it, I would go figure out how to do it. I would find a mentor. I would get a coach. I would work with someone that could help me figure out how to get things to the next level. So I'm always thinking out of the box. One of a recent project that I just took on, I started marketing this book. It's called Conflicting Loyalties. This is a book about a guy that was actually in the mafia when he was at the age of 9. And then he became a DOJ informant at the age of 18. And he actually, it's a very fascinating story. And so, this is like the kind of example of like, I was talking to a friend of mine. He said, "Oh, I have this book that I want to market." And I said, "Great, let's figure it out. Let's how to do it." Book marketing was not necessarily what I was an expert in, but I always come at it from like a yes, I can do this situation. So when I have business owners or people bring me problems, I come up with their solutions. I'm the guy that's going to help you figure out how are we going to make this work? How does this work? I'm always looking at, the glass half full, not half empty. What are all the possibilities we're going to be able to create or generate out of this situation? So, I'm pretty much always in action. I've always lived like that. I've always taken a lot of, classes myself. I always have a business coach that's coaching me also. I've done lots of different, self-help, self-development programs. I have thousands of books at home where I'm always reading on how to get stronger, better, wiser. So I think that, if you really want to succeed, you have to have this go-getter attitude. And you have to surround yourself with a lot of smart people around you. Like when I look at my team, I want to make sure that like my teammates are actually all better at what they do, versus what I do. Like I need to stay in my lane, and I want to make sure that I'm hiring experts and hiring great people alongside of me so we can truly, succeed and move the needle forward.
That's very interesting. Like, for example, I'm getting two aspects. Like, for example, your mindset, you thought to yourself early on, though you were young, but you thought to yourself, this is not the thing that I want to do. I want to do something different. And you went that way and discovered certain things and shortcuts, and you cut it early. Some people, it's great idea to have a certain, I guess, passion for something and keep pursuing until like you are maybe bored or whatever it is of it. But
Yeah.
sometimes we have to know sometimes like maybe limitations, maybe that we are not that really wanted to be invested in that thing that we're doing. So we go to a different path and do drive into that path instead of the if A drive in path A instead of path B. And also you're talking here about a team, which is like it's great like when someone business owner talks about entrepreneur about that the team that they are hiring that they want them to be like we cannot do everything at full capacity at our best everything like whatever it is there is multiple things to do 100 things to do you cannot do that at full potential. Like you need to have this type of team that is they are great what they are doing, and these people that are going to drive the business forward. And this is the kind of mindset that you have. Like it's going to the next place, going to the next level, which is highly important. So do you see the other way around with people always thinking that they don't really need to hire good people, sometimes thinking that this mindset or insisting on certain passions? And do you think that passions involved in all of this?
Well, I think one of the important things you have to look at is you have to have like a real reality check and put a mirror to your face and get really good with your time. One of the things that I did when I was younger is I would always wear a stopwatch around my neck. And I would time every single thing that happened in my life. I would learn how long it takes me to walk a block, how long it takes me to eat a sandwich, how long it takes me to take a shower. I would look at everything in my life and I would time it. And I started getting really good with my time. Because time is really that resource that like we're never going to get back. So it is actually the most important thing in your life. It is so important to manage your time. One of the things that I do in my Help and Answers program as I business coach people is I actually have them map out all 168 hours of your week. Most people, when I ask them how many hours are in a week, they don't even know. Well, it is 168, and we all have 168 hours of our week. And it's really about how you manage that in your life. And you want to be thinking of, the concept of Pareto's rule, which is generally known as the 80-20 rule, and what that rule kind of goes over is like, for example, 80% of your company's output, is produced by 20% of its workers. 80% of the success that will come from 20% of your ideas. 80% of the stress that you have in your life is caused by 20% of the stressors. So you want to take, that rule and really look at implementing it in your life. The inverse of that is like 20% of your phone apps get 80% of your usage. So like when you're on your phone, it's like when you have all these apps, it's like 20% of the tools that you're using on your phone gets 80% of the usage. So you want to analyze every area of your life and see, what tasks you should be doing and what tasks you shouldn't be doing. So you want to make a master list of all the many things that you're doing in your day. Make a total list of what that looks like, and then analyze it and go like, what should I be doing on a day-to-day basis, and figure out what is the 20% of the activities that you should be doing that will make the biggest impact, because that's how you're going to get your business to the next level. If you're trying to just do everything that comes at you, you're going to be frazzled, you're not going to be focused, and then you won't get to the goals that you want to get accomplished in your life because you're reacting to everything instead of like making the important and the urgent. Most people live in the urgent. I want to make sure that I'm putting my time in what's important. So for me, I think it's so critical to make sure that you're using your time effectively.
Definitely. Like you mentioned something very important, measuring the time, like how many hours a day we have, how many hours a week we have. Like you put how much actually of work that I have done in this hour on the next 6 hours, which is very important. And we, as humans, usually take time for granted. Like maybe I do it tomorrow, maybe I do it next week, maybe I do it next year or whatever. I still have time, but you don't know. You have to kind of a plan. Maybe you don't achieve it on time, for example, but you have to have some kind of a framework or measurement where you are going. And also, uh, yourself, how do you know, like you mentioned, talking about important and urgent, yourself, how do you measure the important? Like generally people have this kind of diagram for themselves, like important, not important, urgent, not urgent, this square, you know about, I'm sure. So
Yep.
how do you think that you would advise someone to put the important first and know that this is important? Do you think that, for example, in business, that the money making activities are the things that the business owner should focus on, or do you think, for example, there are other examples that could be there?
Well, one of the things that I do with my program helpandanswers.com, I have over 100 different resource sheets that are sheets that help you figure out the systems and structures in your life. So I actually use these sheets myself to make sure that like I'm analyzing things and making, the important and wise decisions. I mean, I think about things in my life. Like I will even make a list of my relationships and my friendships in my life, and I ask myself deep questions. With Help and Answers, uh, .com, like the concept behind that is the powerful questions that you ask yourself in your life will have you have the life that you have or have you have the life that you don't have. So it's really about the questions that you're asking yourself on a day-to-day basis. So I have dozens of helpful forms and sheets that will help me outline and figure out what should I do with my time? What should I do with my money? What should I do with my resources? And it's a program that has you really look at all the aspects of your life. We go through, your dreams and mission, your habits and routines, your time, your systems and structures, your finances, your projects. And I'll go through and analyze every one of those things. And I do this for clients like in my sleep, but I also do it for myself. Like I have this thing called CEO hour. CEO hour is that time that I'm planning and building and getting really clear with my vision. And the weeks that I don't have my CEO hour with myself, I'm really hurting myself and I'm really hurting all the many people that I'm impacting and all my clients. So it's a very important time to take assessment of like, what is it that I'm building, and it's making the distinction of working in your business versus on your business. And so I find that so many entrepreneurs are just working in their business and doing the work. And in essence, they have a job. And job, in my aspect, in my frame of mind, stands for just over broke. Like you can't get ahead if you have a job, and I break up money in different categories. You have today money, you have future money, and you have future money. So like today money is like you have a job, like you're doing a task, you exchange hours for pay. Future money is like you make some sort of income that's residual based and you're making residuals, you, let's say as an actor, you shoot a commercial and you'll get paid your today money today. And then you'll also get paid your future money, which is called residuals. And residuals keep continuing to pay you dividends and money over time. Every time that commercial airs, you get a check. And then future money is activities like such as real estate, or let's say there's a book that you wrote. These are investments that you build once. They take a long time to really get into fruition, but they're structures that will just produce dividends for years over time. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that like, you might be at a place in your life where all you can do is have that job. And if that's the case, work that job and work it well, because you want to make sure that like how you do anything is how you do everything. So you want to make sure that you're doing a good job, at your job. But then you want to make sure that you take 2 or 3 hours that you're building something in your life that's like for future money activity. And then also future money activity. So that's the way I break up my time, and that's the way I break up my money. And I find that a lot of people just don't take the time to really sit down and assess. And that's really why we came up with the Help and Answers concept. We want to help entrepreneurs, business owners, and people that truly want to kind of take a stop in their life and measure and figure out, is there another way to do this? Is there a more effective way to do this? And we do that by asking a series of questions that have you start to impact your life very, very differently.
Definitely. Like it's very important. Like I think Jim Rohn said that work on yourself harder than you work on your job, something like that. So
Yep.
you need to do that. But do you think if there was only one question someone could ask themselves, right? To be honest with themselves. Like you were honest with yourself. You knew what you wanted to do and you took that detour, right? So
Yeah.
do you think it's should we ask ourselves the question about time? Because we have limited time here in Earth, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the important question to ask ourselves about time is like, wh- what what am I doing with my time, every day? And you really need to analyze that. I don't know that there's like maybe one question that I ask myself questions all day long. Like all day long, I'm just writing down like, well, how should I handle this situation? And I mean, I really put a mirror to my face daily to see how I can be more effective. So I think it's more about just setting up your life. So you're always asking yourself questions. You're always inquisitive. You always want to know, well, how does that happen? And how do you learn about that? Or, I think it's a mindset of just like perspective. And I think the friends of mine that like are always willing to be humble enough to honestly just ask themselves questions daily. I every single day have realized that I know very, very little, So I think it's important to just be honest with ourselves and be like, what am I good at? What am I not good at? And then if you're good at those things and like doing those things, focus on those things. And everything that you're not good at, hire someone else that's better at you, at that task. And don't spend your time in your life on activities that you don't love doing or that don't excite you. I mean, obviously there's things like, okay, I don't want to necessarily do my tax return, but it's something I have to do each year, but I make sure that I have a good tax professional that helps me with that. And I handle the couple things that I need to do to make sure that I have my taxes ready for my tax guy. But you really want to be analyzing your time daily. And so I have a sheet that I've created that kind of walks through like planning out every minute of your week kind of thing. And, for any of the guests that kind of hear this podcast, if you want to have me send you a free copy of that sheet, if you go to helpandanswers.com website and you book a consultation with me or someone on my team, we'll make sure that we send you that sheet. We'll actually, we'll send you 3 different information sheets that are helpful forms and tools that could help all the viewers out there, all the people that are listening. If you'd like to find out how to have some better systems and structures in your life, set up a free consultation and we'll send you a couple 3 sheets that will give you a little bit more information on how you can get your life and business to that next level for free.
So throughout the years, throughout your career and business, what was the worst advice that you ever received or someone told you?
It's funny. One of the pieces of advice is that one of the pieces of advice that I was given when I was early on is that I was told, focus on only one thing. And there's pluses to that and there's minuses to that. I've learned that for me, I thrive when I have a couple different things that I'm working on in my life. If I just am focused on one thing only, for me, that just didn't work because a lot of times I'll get my best ideas or my best situations come out of having 2 or 3 kind of things I'm working on in my life. And they all somehow come together if I ask myself the right questions on how to put those things together. Now, on the flip side, if you are spread out way too thin, you'll never get any one project to move that next level. And you actually need to get some success with something so that people actually start listening to you. So I think it's about finding that fine balance of like, people are going to give you advice and you want to listen to advice. It's also wise to have a multitude of people that are giving you advice. But at the same time, if you're listening to advice from way too many people, then you get bogged down and you don't know where to focus. So I think it's finding that balance, that really makes the impact and difference.
Yeah, definitely. Listening to too many people is could be distracting. Like multiple advices, similar advices. Should I do
Yeah.
this? Should I do that? You will have options like 100 options, and you would stay where you are, and the time will pass by without actually. Because the most important thing is to learn and not to make it a knowledge, to learn and to actually apply it and take it into action. This is the most important thing because when we apply, we would know if this works will or will not work, and we will learn from it, and we will keep going, or we will have some kind of a detour, for example, right? This is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. So what do would you say some of the tools, resources, or books that you would personally read or recommend?
Oh goodness. I mean, there's just so many tools out there. I think one of the habits, like I'll share with you a structure that we use for a lot of our actors that we rep. We actually have two different resource sheets. One that goes through all the helpful books that one should read, and we want to make sure that you're reading books in different categories, like Robert Kiyosaki books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, always have really great investment ideas, or I mean ideas on like how to think of money. So you want to make sure that you're reading another book about boundaries. A lot of my clients need to make sure they have boundaries in their life. So I think it's not about one particular book to go read. It's about the habit of reading. It's about making sure that do you have a new book, on your shelf every single month that you're reading to learn something new, or listening to audio podcasts, like I do that all the time. So I think, sit down with yourself and like just make a master list of like, what are all the areas in your life that you would like to learn a little bit more about, and read one book on money, read one book on time, read one book on how to be more effective in your life, how to balance. So I would just go through every area of your life and ask yourself, where do you want to have more breakthroughs in your life? And then find the top two or three books that are the most successful out there, and just learn something from each person and take that one or two golden nuggets from each book you read. But it's really the habit of continuing to read and keep learning on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, definitely. It's very important. I'm not sure who said that, but I think someone said once it's not like it's a given, but if you read, for example, 5 books in a certain topic, you would be like better off than 90% of the world population in that topic. So,
Yep,
so
$100.
5 books is not that much. So if you read a book a month, so that's 5, 6 months. Take it a year. So a book every 2 months. So that's not not that much. So in a year, you could be 180 degrees different. So that's very important. Yeah,
100%.
exactly. So Nelson, where can people learn more about you so they can get in touch with you and see what you do?
Well, a couple places. I mean, my personal Instagram is at Nelson Paredez-Parks. So Nelson Paredes, Paredez, Parks, Parks. My company is called the ESI Network. That is my talent management company. And so just look up the ESI Network. And we're based here in Los Angeles, in Century City. And as far as help and answers, just go to helpandanswers.com and you can actually book an appointment with me, and I can set up a time to be able to chat. But yeah, go ahead and, look up my socials, and love to connect with you. And, I think that we're in a very exciting new time, especially with AI and what is going on with AI. One of the other initiatives that I didn't really talk about that I'll share briefly on is we started another resource center called the AI Experts. And the AI Experts is really creating intelligent solutions for AI and the entertainment industry. And how that came about is one day I was just kind of thinking, well, wow, there's so much happening in the AI space. And I thought, I called a bunch of my friends that work in the entertainment industry, and I said, well, how much do you know about AI? And nearly every one of them said, I barely even understand what ChatGPT is. So then I thought, wow, there's definitely like some information that needs to be communicated to the entertainment community. So I started a resource center called the AI Experts .com. And so that is just an informational site that has information about like AI and entertainment. So again, as an entrepreneur, I'm always just thinking of out of the box concepts, figuring out how to team up with interesting individuals, and making sure that I'm like impacting and making a difference with all my communities.
Definitely. I love that you have this kind of idea for something, and as we talked here about, is to turn it into action as fast as you can. Like keeping on dabbling is is not a good idea. So you need to take action and step into it like on the gas as fast as you can with yourself, with people around you, with the relationship that you have is better than just keeping it, the idea stuck in your head and thinking about it and not doing anything about it and not seeing what it could be. So that's very important.
Yeah, because honestly, Hussein, like you never know which idea is going to hit. You really don't know. So it's a lot of times like some advice that I got from a very successful friend of mine that's built a huge corporation here in the US. He said, try things, just try, keep trying things until you figure out the one thing that works. And you never know what that's going to be. So I think each day is about like figuring out like what new thing, what new idea, what new perspective are you going to try on? Just try it on as a hat or try it on to see what's going to work for you, you know, because you just never know where those gold nuggets are going to come from. So it's really about just staying in action and then planning your week effectively and trying to impact as many relationships and people in your life. And out of that, you just start to create the kind of life that you'll love.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Nelson, thank you very much for joining me for this episode of the Success Grid podcast. Amazing, you shared amazing story with us. Like like really rare to see someone who would have a foot into acting and would have to make the decision to switch into different things and see different things and build businesses and help other people do that. But the most important thing is actually when someone gets an idea, you need to take a leap and start making action toward it to make it shine. Otherwise, it would stay in the closet and nobody will see it, and not yourself. So that's very important. Thank you very much for joining me.
You got it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it and excited to come back someday and chat about other stuff with you.